Hi, we're going to talk about water today. We're going to talk about oceans, lakes, and rivers as relate to the United States. First of all, as you know, the Atlantic Ocean, right off Cocoa Beach, right over here to the east side of the United States. We've got the Gulf of Mexico, it's sort of connected to the Atlantic Ocean over here. If you went over to the west coast of Florida, Tampa or St. Pete, Sarasota, those areas, you go to the Gulf of Mexico. And the Gulf of Mexico stretches all the way to Texas and Mexico here. So it's a big part of what we see in terms of ocean area in the United States. Over here you've got the Pacific Ocean, as you know, on the western coast. And then the other ocean that a lot of the United States touches is the north coast of Alaska. It touches the Arctic Ocean. So those are the oceans that affect us in the United States. Now, what about lakes? Got some big, big lakes called the Great Lakes. Up here, were formed by glaciers many thousands of years ago. The Great Lakes are Lake Superior, the biggest of the Great Lakes up here between Minnesota, Wisconsin, northern Michigan, feeds down here into what is Lake Michigan here, coming up from Chicago, and Lake Huron over here, comes down the Detroit River into Lake Erie, which is over here, north of Ohio, and then Lake Erie dumps over Niagara Falls into Lake Ontario. Lake Ontario then feeds into the St. Lawrence River, which runs up into the Atlantic Ocean between Canada and the United States. The St. Lawrence Seaway is a big shipping area, getting iron ore out of the Mesabi Range, getting a lot of products to market up and down through there. No, the ships don't go over Niagara Falls. They have locks to get the ships up and down through the lakes at the various levels they're in. Great Salt Lake is another lake of interest here, sitting in northern Utah. Okay, all by itself out here, the Great Salt Lake. Okay, what about rivers? Rivers, you've got, well, the Mississippi River, which starts here in Minnesota and runs down through the middle of the country, all the way down and out here near New Orleans, Louisiana, into the Gulf of Mexico. You have a couple of interesting rivers that feed it, major rivers. One is the Ohio River that starts up here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, runs down here between Ohio and Kentucky, Indiana, Illinois, and into the Mississippi River here. The longest river in the country is the Missouri River, which starts in southern Montana, comes this way, across the Dakotas, down here, and feeds into the Mississippi River in St. Louis. Some of you know the story of Lewis and Clark and how they went all the way up the Missouri. So that's the Missouri. It's the longest river in the country. The Missouri and the Mississippi together are considered to be the fourth longest river in the world. The Colorado River starts in Colorado, runs down here out into Baja California here down in the Pacific, and the Columbia River, where Lewis and Clark finished up, comes this way between Washington and Oregon into the Pacific Ocean. So some of the rivers, lakes, and oceans that affect the United States. Okay, one of the big rivers in Florida is the St. Johns River. And the St. Johns River, as we know, starts here and flows into Jacksonville, so it flows north. The Nile River in Africa also flows north. Many rivers in Russia flow north. And a lot of people get confused in how rivers can flow north because they're going up on the map. But north is just represented on the map as up. Rivers always go downhill. So have you ever been heading north in a car or walking and going downhill? Of course you have. So that's the same way rivers go. They're looking to go downhill. Downhill can be north, it can be east, it can be south, it can be west. Water always flows one direction, and that's down.